Welcome to day 9 of reading the entire Bible this year. There's a recap, the 4 readings on YouTube. And in this video, we go over Mark chapter 3 and 4. On the Sabbath, Jesus went into the synagogue and a man was there with a withered hand. The Pharisees watched Jesus to see if he would heal the man on the Sabbath. So Jews were not allowed to heal or work on the Sabbath at the time. And Jesus said to them, "Is it lawful on the Sabbath to do good or to do harm, to save a life or to kill?" They were silent, and Jesus healed the man's hand. And after this, the Pharisees took counsel on how to destroy Jesus. Jesus then went with his disciples by the sea. Multitudes of people followed them from Galilee, Judea, Jerusalem, Tyre, Sidon, and beyond the Jordan. So many people came that Jesus had to stay in a boat to preach to them. They all came because he was healing and casting out unclean spirits. Jesus then appoints his 12 disciples: Simon, who he named Peter, James, John, Andrew, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, James, Thaddeus, Simon, and Judas. Then many people gathered at Peter's house, and a scribe says, "He is possessed by Beelzebul, and by the prince of demons he casts out the demons." And Jesus said, "How can Satan cast out Satan? If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. Truly I say to you, all sins will be forgiven the Son of Men, and whatever blasphemies they utter. But whoever blasphemes against the Holy Spirit never has forgiveness." So Jesus pointed out that it didn't make sense for him to be a demon, and then also saying that it was blasphemous what they're saying. Jesus' mother and brothers came and asked for him, but Jesus looked around at the people he was with and said, "Here are my mother and brethren. Whoever does the will of God is my brother and sister and mother." This might seem harsh for Jesus to say, but Jesus is making a point that God and God's will are more important than any human relationship. That leads us to chapter 4, and I usually don't summarize parables, but we actually have enough time here to read my favorite parable, the parable of the sower. Listen, the sower went out to sow, and he sowed some seed fell along the path, and the birds came and devoured it. Other seed fell on rocky ground where it had not much soil, and immediately it sprang up, since it had no depth of soil. And when the sun rose, it was scorched, and since it had no root, it withered away. Other seed fell among thorns, and the thorns grew up and choked it, and it yielded no grain. And other seeds fell into good soil and brought forth grain, growing up and increasing and yielding 30-fold and 60-fold and 100-fold. When they were in private, the disciples asked him what this actually meant, and he says, "The sower sows the word, and these are the ones along the path where the word is sown. When they hear, Satan immediately comes and takes away the word which is sown in them. And these in like manner are the ones sown upon rocky ground, who, when they hear the word, immediately receive it with joy, and they have no root in themselves, but endure for a while. Then, when tribulation or persecution arises on account of the word, immediately they fall away. And others are the ones sown among thorns. They are those who hear the word, but the cares of the world and the delight in riches and the desire for other things enter in and choke the word. But those that were sown upon the good soil are the ones who hear the word and accept it and bear fruit, 30-fold and 60-fold and 100-fold. Jesus then tells the parable of the growing seed and the parable of the mustard seed. In the evening, they crossed the sea, and Jesus falls asleep. On the way to the other side, a storm came. Water began to fill the boat, and they woke Jesus in fear. Jesus then says, "Peace, be still," and the seas and winds were calm. All right, that concludes the readings for today. I'll see you tomorrow.